This is Bobby Mills, 1,000-yard guy for the Independent.com, and we've taken In the Hoop on the road once again. We can't stay away from Hastings. Today we have Hastings St. Cecilia head coach, basketball coach. I should make that clear. Kevin Asher, thank you, Coach, for being with me today.
Thanks, Bob.
It's a real thrill. Been wanting to do this for a long time. You know something, the first thing I want to ask is where you went to high school. I never did know that. I never knew that all these years.
O'Neill St. Mary's.
You did, okay. I guess there's Ashers out in North Platte, and I guess maybe out there. And who's your coach up there?
Roland Kirsch. He's.
I remember him. Yeah, reading about him.
Yeah, he coached there for about 4 to 6 years. I can't remember. I know he left a couple years after I graduated, but he's owns a car dealership now in Spencer, Nebraska.
I'll be doggone. Yeah. How many siblings did you have at home?
2 brothers.
Okay.
2 brothers. Yeah.
Older or younger?
Younger, both younger.
And both athletes?
Somewhat, yeah. They both didn't play. The second son, Keith, he didn't play basketball. And then my little baby brother, Kent, he played all 3 sports: baseball, basketball, football. So.
Did you have a town baseball team up
No, well, just your Legion
That's
stuff.
what I'm talking about. Well,
yeah,
Legion, yeah.
Legion stuff in the summer. That's actually probably the sport that O'Neill in general
Really?
is known for, because of the fact that they'd combine the public school kids and the Catholic kids.
Of course, in northeast Nebraska, that was a hotbed of baseball, even when the town teams up there, and pretty heavy-duty stuff.
Yeah, they had a league. I think it went from Hardington to O'Neill and down to St. Paul, and they played every Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and it was good stuff back then.
I know, a long time ago, isn't it? They don't do that anymore, I don't think. So, were you a good basketball player?
Oh well.
Let's not be humble. Come on now.
I guess we had good teams, you know. Now, my junior and senior year, we qualified for state and got beat both times in the first round. Kind of an ironic story is, in football, my senior year, us and Grant had teetered back and forth, 1-2 in the ratings, and they came up. That was back when you could play your state championships in your home fields and so forth. And we were fortunate my senior year to have all 4 games in football on our home turf. And Grant came up in their big Aero stage line bus, and I think it was the Jackman boys and twins.
You were back then.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Was that Schneider, one of the Schneider boys?
Yeah, we had the 3 Schneiders on our team, and
boy.
Rich Rethwich was my high school football coach.
Yeah.
And we upset them that night. We went 13-0, very, very good speed. Not an all-state football player at all by any means. I think we had all-staters except for me and my senior class.
But what a football team, though.
We did. And then basketball, we went back and forth with Grant. We were 1, they were 2 all season long. We get upset in the first round of the state basketball tournament by Scribner Schneider, who went on to play Grant in the finals, and that was when they had Ryan Poppy. And Ryan Young and a Poppy kid and the Jackman boys, and they won state in football or basketball, and we get an end of the season rating as 5 or something. But anyway, it was
that was a good run.
Us and Grant, good run. Yeah, they've had some really good boys teams in that time.
So you went to UNK, is that correct, or it wasn't Kearney State?
I went to Lincoln my first
year.
Did you? Wanted to play baseball, tried out for John Sanders' open tryout that they had back in the Big 8 days, and made the team through the fall. And then Coach Sanders had a talk with all of us kids that had made it at Christmas, and he said, you're probably not going to get much playing time. Breaks your heart. You go find a different school to go to school, and went to UNK and played just a year there, and just decided that I needed to work. So it was.
There's back behind the camera at Hastings College. Yeah, he did the same thing. You were a pitcher at UNK. Is that correct?
Pitcher. Yep.
And is it Guy Murray that was?
Guy Murray was my coach.
He was there 100 years, wasn't he? It's like 73 to 2001. Is he still around?
No, he passed. A few years ago, but he was a good guy to be around. His career record, I think, was just a phenomenal number of games, and it was about 500 because he always took us south to start the spring.
I remember that.
We were 1-17 my first year, and. Come back from a southern trip.
25 and 26, maybe something. Did you end up even?
Yeah, we were 500 at the end of the year, so we had a good run to finish the season. But,
wow. And your first coaching job was at Elm Creek?
Elm Creek, yeah.
How was that for a newbie?
Dr. Lackey, my advisor, brought me in my last year of school, which seemed like 6 years, in the big old 6-year
God,
program back then.
yes.
But he says, hey, I think you can get a job coaching basketball, head coaching at Elm Creek. And I'd been a JV coach at Pleasanton under Rock Martinson for 3 years while I was going to school.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, this would be great. Go out to Elm Creek, interview. I taught Spanish for 3 years, two different classes of Spanish, never had a lick of it, but it was kind of a monitored class through a telecourse from the University of Nebraska.
Okay.
And I taught PE. So I had a split schedule, but teaching Spanish to kids that I didn't know. That I had a book, I had a phone, and I had a video course that came with from the University of Nebraska. So you take anything to get that first job.
Yeah.
So we did, at Elm Creek for 4 years.
And then where did you go from there? Was it
Elm Creek was Norfolk Catholic.
I'm going to ask you a question about Norfolk Catholic later about the difference between here and there.
Sure.
And then did you qualify for state a couple of times up there?
A couple times there, yeah.
98, 99 maybe? Was that somewhere around there?
About that time period. I think it was 90. Yes, because it was 91, about 98, 99, And Dusty Kaiser, who played tight end for Nebraska.
That was my next question. My son said, find out who was on those teams. And I thought, I just couldn't figure it out. It was Kaiser in that bunch.
Kaiser, good group, very good athletes. I mean, they were great football teams, too. They just had them over the years.
And then you went, were you at Millard West for a couple of years?
Millard West for a couple of years.
Something like
2
that?
years, yeah.
And then Pander. How was that? They have qualified 4 times in history. That had to be a tough job.
It was. It was my wife's hometown, and that's why we moved back there. But thinking that, hey, we were going to raise some kids in Omaha, and Millard West I really wanted a head coach again, and she got a job offer to work with her uncle.
Good.
So we went back there, and Pender was built brand new facilities, had great administration, good faculty. Just couldn't get over the basketball hump, although we were one game. Dwayne Mendlick was running through West Point Central Catholic at that time, and we got to the district finals and got beat by West Point CC, and then he went on to win the state title, but we gave him a run that night. So
that's pretty good. They beat everybody in football, and well, not basketball now, but those were golden years. And then that big thing came up at Wood River, huh?
Yeah.
And I remember that's the first time I ever saw you when you won the district, or some district, well, it had to be the district final, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Upset.
And that was a big thing.
Adams Central.
Yeah, and
Adams Central beat us 3 times during that season.
Was that the 4th?
And that was the 4th try, and luck was on our side and good fortune, and we upset Adams Central. So I think that's the last time maybe Wood River's been to the state tournament.
I think you're right, because you were pretty good at that. See, Zach is a Wood River boy, but the next year wasn't bad either, was it?
No, we had a good run of athletes. We had the Wissings and the Smiths and the Eggers and Bossharts and Powell and Munsons, and I mean, they were all around good athletes, whether they were football players, track, they were really good on the track.
Yeah, they were.
That makes you pretty good on a basketball court.
It sure does.
Got any hand-eye coordination.
So at your record, you took this job at St. Cecilia in 2009, is that correct?
Yeah.
And your record coming in there, you won just about 100 more games than you lost. So you were pretty good coming in. And I've had a lot of people say, well, he really, really had most of his wins came at St. Cecilia, and that's not true. I tried to calculate your lifetime record, and I came up with 330 and 158. Is that somewhere close?
We're close, yeah. I think it's was 158 in the loss column coming into this year, and I think it was like 352. So
see, I didn't. Yeah, I don't know if I added this year. But I think maybe I didn't. But
this year.
That's every time you walk on the court, you win 7 out of 10 times, just about.
Well, our kids do.
Yeah, but
right.
they score. But St. Cecilia won a state championship the year before you got here, and then all the turmoil with that year that came up, and it's not always easy to come in, and he's got everybody coming back. Oh, it isn't that easy though, is it?
No, it's not.
And you have to establish your own beliefs from day one? Because a group of thoroughbreds like that can take off on you and not listen, can't they?
Sure, exactly, and that's one thing we've been blessed with here is kids that want to win.
Yep.
The culture is all about excellence, whether it's in the classroom, whether it's spiritual, whether it's the families have been great. I heard the nightmares of parenting. Oh, you're going to have to deal with some high profile parents that are going to really try to run it. Yeah, here, and honestly, it's probably been the best situation for me as far as getting to know the parents and getting them involved in the program, and it's just taken off because of the foundation that this whole school is built around, and I think it just has a lot to do with just, hey, we want to be good in everything we do.
That must be the case. And this is not a fancy facility. I was shocked when I came in because I'm always under the impression if somebody's good in sports that they have a big, beautiful facility like Omaha Central. When I shadowed them, beat up chairs in the coaches. It's not what I think. And this is a nice school, but it's not brand new by any means.
No, but not by any means. There's been a talk.
It's a humble surroundings.
It is. It's very welcoming in the fact that, it's not extravagant. They've done a lot of little upgrades to try to, that we're proud of what we have, but definitely, the people here are hardworking. They're ready to volunteer to make a lot of money for a Catholic school, like every Catholic school has to be.
Yeah, and I've never heard, Carl Tesmer, of course, is a dear friend of mine. I never heard anybody that coached here say they had a parent problem. And I'm sure it exists once in a while, but it's a good bunch of folks here that all pitch in.
Yeah, it is. And that's probably why our kids work so hard, because they understand that, from hard work, you should reap some benefits.
Yep. And if you don't, you're not going to.
Yeah.
When did you decide to be a coach? Was that at UNK, or did you just want to fall into the, maybe at Pleasanton, huh?
A little bit. In 1986, my Uncle Fred Appleby, way back in the O'Neill days.
I don't know who that is.
He's a baseball guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he got me started in coaching with a Junior Legion job. He gave me the juniors. Back then it was midgets.
Right.
And it took off, and we went, in 1986, we go to the state baseball tournament, and we get second. Get beat by Blair in the finals that year.
You were where then? At what school?
I was at O'Neill.
That was in O'Neill.
O'Neill, yeah. So that I coached Legion baseball for the next 8 summers. As I was going to college, I come back every summer, and coach. And even when I was coaching at Elm Creek, my first couple of years, I came back. So all the way through '92. I was coaching baseball, so that got me started. But then it was also Dr. Lackey. Don Lackey at the University of Nebraska-Kearney was very influential. He was like, you've got a knack for working with kids. You've got a knack for what you're doing in education. He said, I'm going to try to get you on at Pleasanton. And you learn different styles of coaching. Rock Martinson, I don't know if you remember Rock.
Yeah, I do.
He was a Bobby Knight,
get after
you type of coach.
Boy.
And I learned a lot from him in those 3 years there, and I think that got me that first job at Elm Creek, just having that experience in college of coaching baseball and during the summer and coaching basketball under Rock. So, you look at those things that, why did I do what I do? I enjoy working with kids and, being around, a younger set of athletes all the time.
So would you say that maybe Rock was your biggest influence? As a basketball coach,
as a basketball coach, yeah, I'd say him and my high school coach, Roland Kirsch. I really liked Coach Kirsch. He did a nice job of, getting us to play hard and understand how the game can be fun too. So those two in basketball were definitely big influences.
What's the difference? I've often wondered, maybe you can't answer this. There seems to be a difference between the Lincoln Diocese Catholic schools and the non-Lincoln. I mean, I'm talking about SCOTUS, Aquinas, St. Cecilia. You see a lot of priests on the sideline, and you don't in other places. Why is that? Is this a closer... I know it doesn't cost as much money to go here. That's another question. But why is it more close-knit than... I don't understand that. I can see it and I can feel it.
Yeah.
Why is that? Do you know?
I think because I grew up in the Omaha Archdiocese, and
there's nothing wrong with it.
No, definitely not. But I know one thing, that we're very fortunate here to have a lot of priests in our building every single day.
I saw
I mean-
just 3 of them walk in there, and I've even seen sisters here.
Yeah.
And you know, I grew up with that.
And they buy in. You know, I think they are, once they get here, I've talked to some of them that, you know, are on their 2-year to whatever assignments that they have through the priesthood. You know, they're in and out, those younger ones, 2 to 4 years. And they said, man, it's hard to leave here because
Oh, that's
the
great.
kids are great. The tradition's great. They enjoy being at the state basketball tournament. They enjoy being in big games just as much. As I said, brings a lot of memories back for them. And we've been blessed with great priests here, and some of the sisters too.
Oh, yeah. So what's the difference? Is there any difference between the kids and the culture at Catholic up in Norfolk than here?
Not a lot. That's
That's-
one
I
thing.
wondered.
Not a lot. Those two systems, our two systems are ran very similarly. The only thing different I saw there was maybe, you know, Jeff Beller's their principal, and I'm not sure exactly what his title still is. He was
Great
principal.
football coach.
Yeah. His title should be God of Football.
It should be. Yeah, pretty
But
close.
yeah, he's one of those guys that he runs a tight ship, and his respect is a big thing for him, and it's a big thing here. And their teachers are all buying into, you know, excellence. So you look at those things between St. Cecilia and Norfolk Catholic, pretty similar schools, and that's probably why I chose this job.
Yeah, because if you, at a Catholic school, and nobody's kidding anybody, if you were paid for all the hours, you know, it doesn't, you have to love it though. You have to love what you do because they don't pay like public schools, you know.
No, I think it's like 65% of
You
what a
have
public
to.
school teacher makes. You know, you really.
It's a dedicated thing.
It is. It's just a way of life, and you sign up for it. You know the differences. You're not going to have new this, new that, new this, money to spend
Oh,
here,
I
money to
know.
spend here. You know, but there's a lot of other benefits, and if you're not a materialistic person, then it's perfectly a great job.
Well, there's a lesson to be learned there, isn't
Yeah,
there?
it is.
What kind of offense have you liked to run over the years in basketball and defense? What is your favorite style of offense?
Well, definitely we want to
I
play.
mean, do you have to tailor it to your kids? I'm sure
You do a little bit, but I also believe that you can let the kids play.
Yeah.
I'm not a structured, patterned offense, anything
Really?
like that.
Okay.
We're more motion. Give them some freedom of movement to use their own creativity. A lot of reading the defense off of screens. I like to play up tempo.
Sure.
But discipline's a big word we use in our system, and we try not to turn the ball over. I mean, we've been blessed with good players. so that helps.
Yep.
And we definitely are an inside-out team. I still feel games are always won in the paint, even though I love the three-point shot on offense.
Fool's gold, isn't it,
It is.
sometimes?
It is. Defensively, man-to-man. I mean, I've just always been a man-to-man team, even though when I had some really good teams, one at Wood River, we played some 1-3-1. And when you have Sean and Shane Smith out there and guys that can really, make the game tough on the defense, you put them in space, and they created some tough passing angles in the 1-3-1.
I still like that man-to-man defense. And do you put a lot of emphasis on weight room or not? And do you ever have to slack off toward the end of the year?
We try to lift 2 to 3 times a week.
That's important, I think.
Yeah, it is, and it's not a heavy bulk
No.
lifting. It's just your basic lifts. It depends. If we have a 3-game week, we'll only lift once or twice. If we have like this week, we lifted 3 times. We lifted Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, just because of the fact that we play Friday, Saturday. They can have Thursday off, and they don't. The kids understand we have a specific weight room program designed for basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, I mean that's a big emphasis for us in the off season, especially. Our kids just buy in. That's where they make their big gains, in whether it's football or basketball, and that's we have a lot of multi-sport athletes.
And you don't have to hold a hammer above their head and say this is mandatory or you're going to ride the pine.
No, they just know.
What about conditioning? That's got to be important in a program like this, I would imagine. If you're going to play that up tempo.
Yeah, I'm not a stern believer in that you have to okay, do so much conditioning every single day
Really?
after school.
Okay.
I think your practices have to be harder than what a game is played, as far as, hey,
Interesting.
our drills are ran with high tempo, high speed, from boom to boom to boom to next drill. We don't walk on the basketball floor. We don't walk to get water.
No, you
we don't
don't.
walk to do free throws. We're constantly in motion for an hour and 40 minutes, and unless there's being some explanation being done. And our kids love that. I mean, they love to play that way, so that's the way they practice.
And Zach, I've seen him doing a little explanation on timeouts on the bench too, like every other. What's it like coaching your sons?
Well, that's
Got to be an unbelievable feeling.
it is.
I
It's a
could-
blessing. I mean, you know, you look at your career and you've had a lot of players and that's the fun part about coaching. You look back and you go, man, that guy's just like one of my sons, or, you know, those kids act like my sons,
Yep.
or whatever. And after you're in your 28th year, and then you finally have a son that's a senior, you go, wow, this is going to come crashing to an end here in 3 years. I won't have a son on the team again, you know. And after 30 years, I'll had 2 sons go through. Trey's a sophomore this year,
Yep.
and Brooks is a senior. So you'll look at that and you go, you know, to do what we did last year and have your sons on that team was extra special. I mean, the state championships we won in 2009, 2010 were great. And there's some boys on those teams that I stay in contact almost weekly.
That they call you coach.
Just whether it's a text now, you know, you can get social media.
Sure.
You see things that their families have done, or you see a kid that posts something on Facebook, and just stay in touch. But coaching your sons is, you know, it can be frustrating. There's no doubt about it. We try never to take it home to the supper table.
Really?
I thought maybe I would when they were in junior high, you know, because I coached them even when they were younger in grade school hoops and junior high hoops, and you're like, you always brought it home then, it seemed like, because you wanted them to be perfect by the
Sure.
time they were
Well,
freshmen.
yeah, sure.
But now it's just, hey, when we get out of that gym, there's really not much said. Once in a while there'll be, hey, I think we should do this. Hey,
I was gonna
think
ask you
maybe we
that.
should do that. And Brooks is really like a coach on the floor. So he's a kid that likes to talk a lot about stuff at home. Trey and the other part, no, he's more serious about getting his homework done, what's on his phone, what's going on in his own world. So, you know, and Trey's always been in Brooks' shadow a little bit, so it'll be interesting to see after Brooks leaves what role Trey takes.
I bet he steps right in. I bet he is. You know, and some people will always criticize coaches. Well, he plays his son all the time. But, you know, there's a classic example. You can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I remember listening in the opener when you played SCOTUS. And I don't know whether you were down by 2 with it when you had that last possession.
Mm-hmm.
And I just knew that Brooks was going to take that shot, but he didn't.
No.
It was Seeley.
Yeah.
And, you know, I heard a couple of people say, well, that was probably because he was covered. And I said, no, that's probably what Coach Asher designed, because that's the way it is. And you know, some people are like, well, my son is going to take that shot. And I wouldn't blame him if he was the greatest shooter on the team. But that, to me, demonstrates a perfect demonstration of how a coach with sons can be fair, or daughters.
Mm-hmm.
It was that. Am I right on that
Yeah,
one?
you are. You're dead on.
mean,
You know, we
it's-
had a couple options off that play. The first one wasn't there, and it really wasn't I wouldn't say first option. It was just, these are the things that, because you never know in those
Well,
situations
you don't.
what's going to happen, how the defense is going to play it, who they're going to take away. We knew that Brooks would be heavily guarded, which he was after we looked back.
Always is.
And Seeley took a great shot against Newman, and Kierkegaard took a good shot against SCOTUS. So you look at those, and we've talked to our kids. There is not one player on this team that we say has to be our go-to guy.
I was
That's
gonna
why we're
say
good.
that,
That's
yeah.
why we're good.
And that's what makes it a defensive nightmare, I'm sure. What's in the future for Coach Asher? And I know you don't want to think about it, but you like baseball, don't you? And you help out with the Legion?
Yeah.
With the Legion team here?
Yeah,
There's
that's-
no baseball
No.
program in town, is there? for
No,
high school?
not summer. There's a possibility, but Hastings High is going to start something here in the near future. But I'm the head coach this summer, so the Chiefs.
Cool.
So the seniors just found that out here in the last couple of weeks.
Well,
So
great. That's
you
a
know,
great thing. Congratulations.
baseball is part of our life, so yeah, we'll be we'll be really busy as we always have been.
See, I didn't think a Legion ball player could get a D1 scholarship, but your son disproved my theory there, and I think Johnny Dorn over in Grand Island, Tino had him, and obviously colleges come and look at kids like that, don't they? And in the summertime, or did he go to a couple camps?
Yeah, you have to kind of recruit yourself.
That's what I'm
We
wondering.
went to a couple prospect camps at Kansas and Wichita State, Nebraska, over at Iowa, and you kind of got to sell yourself a little bit. I mean, you talk about putting on miles in the fall.
Ooh.
Because that's one of the things that we decided to do in the fall was, hey, we're going to have to get some exposure somehow.
I wondered that.
And that's exactly how that all fell into place. We went to KU one weekend. Coach really liked Brooks, what he saw that weekend, and then invited us back for an official visit. And it was, there it is.
That's tough. That is really tough to impress on one, setting.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me why Brooks doesn't go out for football. Well, there's your answer right there. But that has to be a great honor for him and you. So that's, I'm sure he could be a great football player, but you don't want him hurt for basketball. So you told me before that your team is pretty healthy right now. Is that? And they've had some unfortunate things in football. Do you hold your breath every time you go to a St. Cecilia football game? Most basketball coaches are down on their knees.
Every coach in the state will say that, it is what it is. It has to, that.
I think most of them support it, but it's just like, oh, please don't get hurt.
Definitely. Yeah, you want the kids to do whatever they want. And if my son came up to me tomorrow and said, I'm going to try football next year with Trey, it would be no big deal. They played through junior high. Brooks played as a freshman.
Did he?
here.
Okay.
And then just decided that his falls needed to be dedicated if he wanted to play any level of baseball. Sure. He needed to play at a high level in the fall also and get some exposure.
He probably could play small college basketball, couldn't he?
Yeah, I think, the GPAC definitely
Sure.
would have been a type of school he could have played at.
Have you ever thought about coaching in college?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And most coaches won't tell you if they've had offers, but Coach Head over at Donovan Trumbull told me how tough the college gig is, especially when you have kids that are preparing to play high school ball. There's no time to go to their games, so never thought seriously about it. Huh?
No,
it is time consuming, isn't it?
It is, and now that you have, 3 kids, my daughter's an 8th grader, there's not any time to be on traveling away from their events. I miss enough of her events the way it is. It's tough. So, I definitely, maybe a Steve Spomberg type deal.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah,
he retired from the public school and was able to do that. He's the head baseball coach at Hastings College. Just a great gig for him.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
And so forth. So if there's something that arises like that in, say, 5-6 years when my kids are out of high school, maybe.
And you're prepared for that because you're already coaching baseball now.
Yeah.
That's probably enough on the plate, isn't it? I mean,
It's enough
you don't
on the
have
plate
any
right
time
now.
off
No.
because really during football, I mean, you just told us what you did.
Yeah.
So, last question: what do you do for relaxation? Do you watch basketball at home?
Yeah, we do.
Just for kicks?
Oh yeah. Our whole family. It's just
How about mother?
not a lot of Jackie. She's the best assistant coach you could ever have.
Wow.
You know
How
what I'm
about
saying?
that?
She wants to get involved with everything from pregame meals to
Jeez.
travel plans. She's the one that hauled all the kids when they were managers. This is one thing that a lot of people don't know. These 6 seniors were my student managers from 5th grade
Oh, I
through
see
8th
that
grade.
sometimes, and it's so
And
cool.
you put those kids on the bench, and they're understanding that they're learning from great role models like Jake Hamburger and Bo Schwink, Paul Getterts,
You bet.
the Stirrup Boys, Seeley's. I mean, you start looking at those type of kids, and you want to be those kids.
Yep.
And that's what kind of gives them that. Hey, we're the next generation of that group of kids. So, but yeah, at home we're a sports nut family. If it isn't on ESPN1, it's on ESPN2, and if it's not on that, it's on CBS Sports Network. It's kind of sickening probably for some people, but for us, we don't have the other hobbies like camping or boating or even golf. I had to give up golf just because of coaching and raising kids.
Did you know you were marrying a sports enthusiast?
Yeah, she played. Yeah, she's got one up on us all. She won a national championship playing softball at Kearney State back with Dan Cinnamons and those. So she's got just as much interest in sports, as I do. So it all worked out.
I think Brooks might have gotten a little bloodline from that. Wow.
I get killed all the time, Bobby.
Oh,
he got it all from her.
Oh my gosh. I don't think that's true. That's great, because if my wife wasn't interested in sports, and I couldn't survive. So
Sure.
I get enough. Yeah, they're basketball nuts in my family, so I take a lot of poking. But it's been great talking to you, and I didn't know a lot about your past, where you started out, but it's been a good ride, hasn't it? Really, I mean, overall,
Oh, yeah.
with the kids and everything. And
You bet. It's the most rewarding career that you could possibly have, and a lot of people don't understand. They think, well, it's all about championships and it's all about those types of high level achievements. But to be honest, I've got some of the best kids that I've ever coached and that I know send you a Christmas card. Hey, here's my family now. And you look at that kind of stuff and you go, oh, that team was 500. Or
that's when you know you're good.
Yeah. You hit the head of the process in life for that kid. Hey, did we make a difference in some part of that kid's life? Sure, you do as a coach.
Do you ever sometimes not know that in high school? I find that with drum students. Do they even remember me? And then 10, 15 years later, it's like, oh my gosh.
You're exactly right. You get that little memento someday that you're just wow. I didn't even know that kid. You could tell stories with those type of things that you're talking about. Those kids that come back or see you on the street at a fair and they're 35 years old and you're like, oh man, who is that?
But you don't change, so that's nice physically. You don't change over that time period. So, well, anyway, I'm going to shake your hand because this has been great. This has been Kevin Asher from Hastings St. Cecilia, and we found out a lot about you, and we like what we found out. And Zach Mayhew behind the camera. We're going to come back to Hastings. We have one more to do, maybe hopefully more than that, but today was fun. I appreciate it. This is Bobby Mills, 1,000 Yard Guy for the Independent.com. We'll see you next time.